Heavy metal in the 80s was full of amazing and crazy bands. It was the golden age of the genre and the time when rock and roll ruled the earth and fought a holy war against the PMRC and the moral majority. Out of this river of metal bands emerged W.A.S.P, a band that was considered the wildest, craziest, and most extreme. They were part of the Filthy 15, had to be censored, and were even banned in parts of the country. No other band went as far as W.A.S.P when it came to hardcore heavy metal that did not hold back and said whatever it wanted to say.
From W.A.S.P, and you're watching MTV.
Unlike a lot of metal bands at the time, W.A.S.P actually did try to be as offensive and provocative as possible. They pushed the limits so hard that the PMRC viewed them as their public enemy number one and tried to demonize them every chance they got. Not to mention how all the religious fanatics and Karens lost their minds hearing W.A.S.P songs or seeing their album covers.
The outrageous edge of rock and roll has shifted its focus from Elvis's pelvis to the saw protruding from Blackie Lawless's codpiece on a W.A.S.P album.
I got this glint in my eye whenever I'm performing, which keeps people off balance where they're asking, is he or isn't he serious about this? Those people have obviously never seen that glint. I mean, how can any grown man walk around with a 12-inch saw blade between his legs and take that seriously?
It's outrageous filth. And we've got to do something about it.
Their singer, Blackie Lawless, knew all of that, and you have to give him credit for using all this hate from the PMRC and similar groups to fuel their career and get as much exposure as possible. I mean, W.A.S.P did plenty of interviews and went on MTV and other programs pretty often, but nothing could compare to the free advertisement that the PMRC was giving them and most of the other musicians and bands that they were constantly mentioning.
There are themes of sadomasochism, rape, incest, explicit and graphic sexuality in lyrics and in some of the concert acts.
Are we finding rock music the new pornography?
I think that we can find, unfortunately, some very explicit sexuality, and some people would call it pornography, in some of the rock music, yes.
The message that rock stars are singing today is that love equals sex and sex equals love, that love is purely recreational, it's a thing that is fun, there are no commitments, no responsibilities. In the heavy metal industry, for example, where you have songs that deal with forcing a woman to have oral sex at gunpoint, as in Judas Priest on the album Defenders of the Faith, Eat Me Alive.
His mother says he was a normal, happy boy until he became obsessed with black metal music.
And that might sound crazy from today's perspective, even mind-blowing, but the moral majority and the PMRC had a lot of influence back in the 80s. Many of their members were either part of the government, Congress, or the Senate. Not to mention a lot of local small-town politicians and officials that literally had the power to, if not outright ban certain types of music, then heavily censor and discriminate against it, forcing record stores to not carry those types of music and musicians. These people were nuts, but because they were so hung up on heavy metal, they kept mentioning and talking about certain artists all the time, often on national TV or magazines that were seen and read by a lot of people.
A recent hit of Sheena Easton's called Sugar Walls about sexual arousal was yanked from several radio stations.
The decision was, well, let's test it and see what happens. We received a number of complaints and letters from parents who felt that the record should not be played. So therefore, we felt it just wasn't worth playing it.
The National Association of Broadcasters has stepped into the controversy.
We're trying to tell the owners and the managers of these various broadcast properties to be sensitive to the music that their program directors and disc jockeys were playing.
That's one of the reasons why W.A.S.P managed to get such a wild and dangerous reputation, because they were literally marked as a dangerous, demon-worshipping band that was corrupting the souls and minds of children and anyone listening to them.
They're great, and I love them.
Somebody was asking me the other day how I got the idea for the song Animal. Said I hooked up a videotape in my bedroom, rolled it back, made it rhyme.
Sex. A bunch of sex. You guys are bitches. I love you.
What the moral majority did not realize is that all this talk about W.A.S.P being dangerous only made them more exciting to younger audiences. When the PMRC finally managed to force their parental advisory stickers on records, it didn't have the effect they expected it would. On the contrary, this made certain types of music, metal most of all, more exciting, rebellious, and fun. If you're a teenager or even a grown adult, are you honestly going to buy your music in the safe and censored section, or will you look for the part where they sell the most offensive, hardcore, dirty, and heavy music? I know I'd pick the latter without second thoughts.
Many records now contain sexually explicit warnings on the label.
The problem in America with the censorship is that you have people that are looking to become very well known, and they're using rock and roll to do that. And they've attacked W.A.S.P more than they have any other band.
Why?
The thing is, they've gone on every major television show in America, every major radio, all the magazines. They walk on TV and they hold up pictures of our album and they go, "Don't buy this album." And in the last 3 months, we've sold 10 times as many records as we did before that. I mean, they want to put an X rating on our album. If I was 15 years old and I walked into a record store, I'd walk in and I'd say, "Where's the X-rated section?" You know, I'm going to make a beeline right for that place I'm going. I don't want to know about anything else. I want to hear about the dirt and all that good stuff.
And that's exactly how W.A.S.P ended up making way more money and sales in that period, because they gained a reputation that other bands dreamed of. Of course, it's not like W.A.S.P walked into this situation by accident. They actually were trying and going out of their way to be as offensive and wild as possible. Even their name means we're sexual perverts, which, despite not being openly admitted by Blackie, has always been hinted at whenever he was asked about it.
You can tell me.
In the beginning, this sounds biblical, don't it? In the beginning, we were looking for a name that was controversial without really being controversial. So that's to say, if you know what the name means, fine.
If you don't,
that's fine too.
The damn bitch is just too bizarre. Such a wicked, vicious woman. The hell is a
All right, some music news for you tonight. The Last Command, W.A.S.P's new album, has the distinction of being the first record released with a warning label since the record rating campaign began, but none of this controversy has prevented W.A.S.P from making plans for their next tour, which kicks off in late November.
One of the best examples of this is their first album, which had a single that was originally intended to be the album's opening track, called Animal, also known as I Fuck Like a Beast. Now, you might not think anything when you're hearing a title like this today, since album titles and song names haven't been offensive for a while. But back then, this was extremely controversial and made plenty of people bitch and moan. It got so bad that they had to drop the single, reserving it only for live shows, because the record label feared that the album could straight up get banned from major retail stores. It also featured Blackie's famous outfit that he used to wear for most of W.A.S.P's 80s run, which had a chainsaw blade stuck to his dick.
I want to know how many of you rivet heads come here tonight looking for a little bit of pussy? Well, if you fuck like a beast, you must be an animal.
If you listen to most of their early albums, the lyrics will be either highly sexualized or about breaking rules and living a lawless life full of chaos and alcohol. Basically, they were singing Chris Holmes' autobiography but just didn't realize it at the time. And if you think I'm joking, just watch his scene from The Decline of Western Civilization Part 2, where he's drinking vodka right next to his mother in a swimming pool talking shit. Now, to be fair, most of that interview is fake, as there's no way he could splash vodka over his eyes and not scream in pain, but the look of shame from his mother is as authentic as can be. It's an insane moment, honestly, and just shows how wild heavy metal was in the 80s and how they lost all control.
Well, people talk about the stage show toning down. I used to have this codpiece that had a saw blade, a 12-inch saw blade between the legs, and I don't have that anymore, but I do have the actual cup piece itself. And there's one part in the show where flames shoot out of the end of it 18 feet. Now, if that's toning the show down, you know, I mean, I don't know what to tell anybody. I mean...
But you had a bit of an accident with it recently, didn't you?
It didn't shoot the full 18 feet. It went rather backwards instead of forwards. I was damn near a soprano. I'm here to tell you, they were picking parts of me off the light truss that night.
Having said that, Blackie Lawless was definitely not like a lot of his peers at the time. He clearly had a sense for business and knew exactly what he was doing. In fact, it almost feels like his stage persona is an alter ego that he created because Blackie on stage and in music videos and Blackie in interviews are two different people. The first one is a crazy madman without control, while the second is a well-articulated and intelligent musician. Personally, W.A.S.P was my favorite 80s metal band because of Blackie's voice and the way he used to sing. I mean, a lot of singers, especially within metal, had similar voices back in the 80s, but no one sounded like Blackie, and that's what makes his singing so amazing. He had a style that was different and made you recognize a W.A.S.P song instantly.
If I smash the silence, you'll see what fate has done to me. Kiss away the pain and leave me lonely. 'Cause I'm gonna
And I mention this because I have seen a lot of people claim that it was Chris Holmes who made the band so great, which I disagree with. Holmes was a great guitar player and he did have a great stage presence that was perfect for W.A.S.P, but it's not like the 80s lacked competent players who could have easily replaced him without harming the sound at all. But you couldn't replace Blackie because his voice is what made W.A.S.P stand out so much. No singer sounded like him. Other bands could do that, as there were a lot of people who sounded like Vince Neil, for example. Blackie Lawless, on the other hand, will always be the heart and soul of W.A.S.P.